But this season's going to be great because there's a huge faction of Red Sox fans that are like 1,000,000% convinced that Kimbrel's coming back, and nobody's going to laugh harder than me, when that doesn't happen. And then there's a faction that think we're getting Harper. That's not going to happen. Maybe we could get Machado, maybe, but I doubt that.
That's legitimately not happening with Harper. Kimbrel I can see coming back, because if you just get rid of Kelly, then you just say, okay, well, Kelly wanted $9 million. He gave Kimbrel $18 million for 2 or 3 years, and by the time he's done, then you let him go for real, and everybody else will be up for UFA. But Harper makes no sense
at all.
Machado hates the Red Sox, and also makes no sense because you have Bogarts already at short, and you got Devers, whose contract is team control, 3 years of arbitration. So he'll be playing for pennies.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get either. I think Machado, maybe a 1% chance as opposed to Harper, but yeah. And with Kimbrel, I think signing him would make it impossible to, well, not impossible, but it makes it really difficult to sign Bogarts. I think Bogarts is the nearest term guy they're looking at right now.
He has to be. Only 1 more year arbitration.
Yeah, and then Sale maybe as well. I don't think we're going to keep Sale and Porcello. It could be one or the other, unless Price opts out. Actually, then things get really interesting if that happens, and maybe that's how you retain Kimbrel. Actually, if Price does go, but and I'll celebrate for that. I'll probably get arrested for like streaking or something.
About to say, Terry said there's hope in his voice.
Yeah,
really.
but yeah, I guess it's just really impossible. There's so many working parts, and that's why we're a win now team. We really have to do it, and yeah, I don't know. I just looking at the Yankees right now, I just want to throw up because they're really built for the next.
They're going to run to the situation as we are in a couple of years, and even more, money for JBJ. Makes $6 million right now. Is he going to get a raise in the next 2 arbitration? Does he even stay on the team? That's another $6 to $8 million that you can kind of put towards someone else. And I like JBJ, but the Yankees have their own share of issues when it comes to contracts and who they need to pay. Are they going to be able to keep, realistically, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Torres, Gary Sanchez, and Luis Severino?
Well, I think Sanchez kind of becomes the odd man out if anybody has to, and Judge should have 5 more years left after this. Severino maybe just 4, but I think they're going to keep him. I think that's the one guy for sure. Stanton already said he's not going to opt out, and I think he would be stupid to, because he's going to be playing off the most expensive years of his contract at this point, so it just doesn't make any sense for him to do it. And then, especially the way the market's been going. And so Stanton's definitely going to be there. Judge is going to be there, like I said, at least another 5 years. Severino, at least another 4. But they're going to lock him up. There's no way they would let him go. He's going to be a career Yankee, I feel like.
Yeah, he will be. But they go into arbitration at some point. Like, if Severino goes into arbitration next year, how much is he worth now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll get whatever the record is, probably.
Yeah, and then, you got Judge has 1 more year left of team control, then what is he worth? Eventually these guys are running. Didi Gregorius has 1 more year arbitration, and then he's a UFA. Do you pay him? There's a lot of, you probably let him walk, though, because you got Torres.
Right.
You got a lot of these guys that are going to be Sanchez, same thing, 1 more year left of team control. And then all of a sudden they want each $10 million. Like, you could probably get Severino $10 million, Judge $8 million, Sanchez $6 million, and then all of a sudden that jumps up. They have Ellsbury until 2021. They have Tanaka until 2020. They have Aroldis Chapman until 2021, unless they trade him, and he has opt-outs. Why would he opt out? They have Stanton forever, obviously. So they have a lot of guys that they can't move as well, and their bullpen situation, Betances, he makes $5 million. David Robinson's going to be UFA. Do you keep him back? So they have a lot of issues as well. It's very similar to the Red Sox. They're in win now mode as well. Sonny Gray makes $6.5 million.
Yeah.
1 more position.
They're under the luxury tax though at the moment, and I think that's why they want to be. That way they can afford to be above it for a few years, and maybe they're taking in those arbitration contracts, into consideration towards that. But I don't know. I don't know. I would much rather have the Yankees situation right now than ours, and they have a good farm system too. Let's not discount that. Ours not so good.
No, they do, but in a year or two, they're going to be in the same situation that we were a couple years ago, where they're going to trade some of those guys away, and guys are going to be position blocked. Like, why is Clint Frazier not up right now playing over Aaron Hicks? You have Sheffield.
He's a trade piece. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. You have Sheffield, Torres, and Floria. Torres is here to stay. If you trade for DeGrom or any sort of Cole Hamels, you're going to have to give up one of those guys, not Sheffield. So Florio, he's gone. Frazier has a trade piece. He's gone, most likely. So, and then all their guys are going to be up in the system playing. The Red Sox had one of the best farm systems in baseball a few years ago with Moncada, Kopech, Devers, Benintendi. And you look at where those guys are right now, Benintendi starting on your team, Devers starting on your team, Moncada starting on another team, Kopech in AAA on another team because you traded them. So eventually guys get blocked either position-wise or they don't pan out, so you move them in general, which Moncada may never pan out. I think he'll pan out, but he might not be the 90 hitter. He might just be a 260 guy who plays good defense. He has a cannon. That's okay. The Yankees are going to run to that situation. They're going to trade for Hamels or DeGrom at some point this year. So you
or Hap.
Yeah, or Hap. You're going to kiss one of those prospects for goodbye. If it's a
or
low,
two even.
Yeah, if it's a lower guy like just Clint Frazier goes and some pieces, whatever. If they trade for DeGrom, it's going to be Frazier, probably Floria, and another piece. And then all of a sudden, there goes 2 or 3 of your big prospects.
Well, and Cashman pretty much shut down all the rumors about Torres being moved, basically saying that he has to walk around the city of New York. He's not trading Glaber.
He's untouchable. He's a generational talent. He's unbelievable. He's going to be their Mookie Betts, their Andrew Benintendi, Bogarts even a couple years ago, only he's going to bat 300 and hit 30 home runs.
I think Clint Frazier, would definitely be in a DeGrom deal. That's going to be the most expensive deal they're looking at, of anyone. So I think Frazier's in that deal. Maybe
I think Frazier and Sheffield might be in that deal. Like, the Mets are going to ask for a lot. They're not just going to hand him to him.
Did you say Sheffield?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would start with Frazier and Andujar. See if that gets it done. And there'll be some like mid-level guys in there as well. But for elite guys, I would start with Frazier and Andujar. And if that doesn't get it done, then maybe Sheffield should definitely get that done if it comes to that. And I think that's a bigger haul than what the White Sox got from us, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a way bigger haul.
Yeah.
I mean, DeGrom, he makes 7.4 right now, but he's 2 years left of arbitration. Like, that's crazy for how good he is.
Right.
You're not only paying for DeGrom, you're paying for the contract too. That's the thing. That's why it's so much bigger now.
Yeah, he's not a rental. Like, Cole Hamels is a rental.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing though. DeGrom's going to be 32 in his free agent season, so that shouldn't be a David Price contract that he gets at that point.
No.
So he could be a little more affordable than Severino will be, when he hits free agency.
Yeah, and 3 years of Jake DeGrom with this team and how good they are. And if you think about it, if Sonny Gray ever figures it out, they're going to be dominant if they have Severino, DeGrom, Sonny Gray as their 1, 2, 3. That's ridiculous.
Right.
And they're going to have to give up some guys, but they're not all going to pan out anyway. Any Yankees fans listening to this, not every single prospect's going to pan out, and you can't play every single prospect either because of people blocking certain positions.
Well, exactly. I mean, we've had prospects come up through the years to where I've had all the confidence in the world in them. I mean, look at Will Middlebrooks. I mean, none of us thought that Will Middlebrooks was just going to shit the bed, did we?
No, I didn't think so. What about Henry Owens?
Henry Owens, yeah.
He was untouchable, right? You couldn't trade for Cole Hamels for Henry Owens because he was he was going to be the next big thing.
Even Blake Swihart.
Castillo, you signed him. Guy's got a cannon. He'll be batting 300. Speedster, going to be the next Jacoby Ellsbury for us.
Biggest international contract in history at that point. I think it was just ridiculous.
Yeah. So not all these guys are going to pan out, and then you get guys that come out of nowhere like a Mookie Betts, 5th round pick, that turn out to be somebody. So you can't hold on to all these guys forever because eventually they either run out of value because they don't pan out, or they do pan out, but you got 5 of them trying to play 3 positions in the outfield, and you end up losing them to free agency or having to trade them when you have your hands tied and you can't get any value for them because they're going to walk anyway.
Going back to Middlebrooks, I just remember that year where he exploded. That was 2012, the Bobby Valentine year, and King Felix was pitching really well that year, and there was just some talk, and I don't think it ever came down to Epstein and the Seattle front office ever talking, but there was some speculation, though, whether or not if Boston would put him in a deal for King Felix, and of course it didn't happen, and maybe Epstein never would have dealt him anyway, but it's just crazy how high his ceiling seemed, and then a few years later he gets traded for a backup catcher. Ryan Hannigan.
It was like the rug got pulled out from under him.
Yeah.
It happened so fast.
Right. He just couldn't handle Boston. I wonder if he comes up, say, in Kansas City or maybe Cincinnati, Texas. Or Texas, or even Milwaukee, even maybe his career is different. I don't know. Oh, and actually, while we're on him, I got blocked by him. I saw that. I have no idea when it happened, and I don't tweet at players. Like, I never do. I give the beat writers a hard time often enough, and usually only Pete Abraham, but I never tweet at players, so when I get blocked by them, it's hysterical. And David Price, same thing. I never tweeted at him, but somebody could have tagged him into something I said, and maybe that's how it happened. Because one time I was arguing with Kurt Schilling, having no idea he was Kurt Schilling because somebody else tagged him into the tweet or whatever. And his handle is, or at least back then it was at Garrig38. So how the fuck was I supposed to know I was fighting with Kurt Schilling?
It's a good story though.
I know. It's funny. Yeah.
It's an icebreaker.
Yeah. I love Kurt Schilling, the baseball player. I don't like him quite as much as a human being. But yeah, when I have the box set from 2013 and 2007 and 2004, and when I watch that game 6, I'm just completely locked in on what he did that night, and
always in awe.
Yeah, that's exactly. Because if you just listen to the commentary, in the pregame, they're like, "Oh, we don't know if he's going to go tonight. He had some staples done in the clubhouse on his." A tendon, near his heel, and and it just, I remember it, it brings me back to that night actually that it happened, and I'm like, because it's a go or go home game, in New York, and it's just the way it played out and how heroic he was, and he pitched very well in 2007 as well, in that postseason, so.
And he was John Lackey before John Lackey when it comes to
basically
postseason that didn't care.
Did it in Arizona too.
Yeah, did in Arizona too. Didn't care what the elements were, who he was playing, how he was feeling. Just didn't care. He was just a horse, and like a John Lester type guy. Who, man, wouldn't you kill to have John Lester on this team right now?
I saw a stat and I tweeted it after I saw it. John Lester, in all 11 seasons, has pitched a minimum of 31 starts. How insane is that?
He's been really good this year, too. I don't know if anyone's noticed, he has 83 innings pitched, and which isn't the highest, but he got 2.28 ERA.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
He's killing. His whip is almost, under 1.
Yeah, I knew he was
should be with him.
Really good. I traded him away from my fantasy team